Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Anta Zap 3. So this is Donte Divincenzo's signature shoe and he signed with Anta. As you guys didn't know, the Zap 1 was one of my favorite hoop shoes when it came out, right? Zap 2 was a very solid performer as well, and now we have the Zap 3, and this is the green snake colorway, and it retails for around 130 to 135 bucks, which is actually pretty dang good for the tech that you're getting in this shoe, you know what I mean? So I did get this over at Kick's Own, so if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave in the free link in the description box, and if you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it through the free link in the description box. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support, but let's get it started right off with the tracciones, right? So as far as the traction pattern goes, we do have a herringbone traction pattern right here in the forefoot, and it kind of, there's like two circles here, and then you have this, so it looks kind of weird here in the back part of the shoe, which is funny. But anyways, it's also translucent. It's a translucent outsole. However, I'm not 100% sure what they're using, right? So as far as the tech goes, I apologize if I am wrong about the tech, because literally Kick's Own doesn't say anything as far as the tech goes. And I tried looking on Chinese websites and stuff like that. I couldn't really find any information on the Zap 3 for the outsole, right? Because it doesn't seem like rubber to me. It actually seems like some type of resin, you know, maybe like a RPU, like a rigid polyurethane type of material or something like that, because it just doesn't feel like rubber. It feels more like, you know, that RPU material. Either way, the traction seems really freaking good, guys. Like, it has a really solid bite on my wood floors, and I'm very impressed by it. And I wasn't surprised because, you know, Zaps have had really good traction. Also, Anta usually makes really good hoop shoes with amazing traction. And yeah, it has a really nice bite on my wood floors. Of course, that has nothing to do with, you know, the basketball courts, because the actual finish is a little bit different. But that's just my first impression. Now, I'm going to be playing these tomorrow. I'm very excited about that. And as far as the dust performance goes, I feel like it'll be pretty dang good. I mean, the grooves are pretty well spaced apart. You know, it doesn't seem like it's going to be trapping dust or debris in between the grooves. And also, I was walking around in these shoes all day in my apartment. And my apartment, you know, has dog hair and stuff like that. And even though it was picking up that dust, it seemed to still have a very nice solid bite on my wood floors, right? So hopefully that translates over to the actual basketball court. But the traction feels really nice so far. And also, it has a very nice loud high-pitched squeak. And as far as the durability goes, the durability also seems like it's going to be very good. The grooves are really thick. The grooves are deep, and also whatever compound this is, if it's rubber or whatever, it seems really hard as well. So it seems like it'll be very good on an outdoor court, like super durable. So the traction, it feels really nice, right? And I really like how it feels. And also, of course, we can see the carbon fiber plate. It's this like slingshot shape, like this Y shape. And it goes really far, really deep here into the forefoot. And we can see the carbon fiber exposed here in the middle of the outsole as well. And moving on to the heel to toe transition, yeah, it feels really freaking nice, guys, right? So here in the heel, we have a crazy rounded shape. Look at that, right? But also, when I saw it, I was like, oh, it looks pretty caged, and that kind of sucks, you know what I mean? But yeah, this cage is extremely soft. It's a really thin, like soft type of plastic. So just pressing it with my finger, it actually has a good amount of compression. It has a nice bit of give. But also, I guess we do have these kind of like little notches where it's exposing the foam. So yeah, here in the heel, it's extremely soft, extremely comfortable, just like kind of walking around. I'm sure it'll be very nice when I do heel dominant strides, like just, you know, on a fast break or something, you know? And then coming here to the forefoot, also very nice curved shape, right? So that feels really nice. And also torsional support seems pretty dang nice. Like, not amazing, but it seems a lot better than a lot of guard shoes out right now, like, you know, the Sabrina 3, Sabrina 2, Jaw 2, you know, the Tatum 3, Luka 4s, you know. This is very, very flexible, you know what I mean? The Zap 3 is a little bit stiffer feeling, but still has a little bit of flex to it. And then here in the forefoot, look at this, right? It's not super easy to flex, right? But it is able to flex, and that's a kind of nice, like pretty nice springy feel as well. So yeah, heel to toe transition feels pretty dang smooth, and also a little bit springy here in the forefoot. I don't know why it's not as springy. You know, I thought it was gonna be a very, very springy, but it's not as springy as I thought it was gonna be, right? So there's that. Moving on to the cushioning setup. So it literally says right here, it says A-Shock Pro. So they're using A-Shock Pro foam. It seems like it's full length as well. And yeah, it has really nice cushions so far. However, I'm a little bit worried about the overall impact protection, because I did play in the Anta Shockwave 7 and that shoe was using full-length A-Shock Pro foam as well, I believe, right? And that cushioning setup is really thick, is really soft, very comfortable. However, it wasn't the best for impact protection because A-Shock Pro foam, when I tested in that shoe, the Shockwave 7, it's just so soft that like it just didn't really provide good impact protection when I was doing hard impacts, right? And my foot would bottom out the cushion and it would hit the floor. So hopefully that doesn't happen to me here in the Zap 3, you know what I mean? Because first of all, the core feels way better in the Zap 3 compared to the Shockwave 7, you know what I mean? So I'm a little bit worried about that. But overall, like this cushioning setup is insane, guys. Like, first of all, the step and comfort. Right when I put this shoe on, I was like, yo, this feels so soft, so comfortable, right? And right now it doesn't feel too mushy because the core feel is really good, right? The foam is actually pretty thin. So it just has a really nice, like, soft feel, and then it kind of like stops. And it just doesn't feel like too soft or mushy to me right now. Hopefully, you know, it doesn't get mushy when I play in it, but just like walking around, kind of jogging around, it didn't feel too bad, right? So yeah, the underfoot cushion is insane. Like the insole, first of all, is a really kind of like nice elastic foam type of insole. You know what I mean? It has a kind of like elastic feel. It doesn't have that like Orsolite, like softer foamy type of feel. You know what I mean? It's more like a elastic, like rubber band type of feel, you know? And then underneath that, we have a very nice soft mesh strobel board, but it's like a screen mesh almost, you know what I mean? And not only is it a screen mesh, just pressing with my fingers just so freaking soft, right? So yeah, underfoot cushion, step and comfort, extremely nice. And it's like, it's one of the best that you can get right now. You know what I mean? It reminds you a lot of like the Joker 1 GT, but I might even say this is a little bit softer, you know? Also, we do have a nice bit of compression, like I said, because the actual cage isn't super stiff. This is actually pretty soft. So that also, because of the cage, it actually feels a little bit bouncy here in the heel right now, which is nice. And as far as the core feel goes, the core feel is pretty dang nice. I would say it's a little bit higher up off the ground than the Sabrina 3, just a tiny bit, but it does have better core feel than the Jaw 3, right? So it's like somewhere in the middle of these two shoes as far as the core feel goes. So it's still pretty dang nice. Not amazing, not the best like the Sabrina 2 and 3, but it still has pretty dang good core feel. So yeah, I really like the overall cushioning setup. We'll just have to see on if the impact protection is good. Hopefully I don't get a reoccurrence of the Shockwave 7. So there's the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the actual upper. So we do have like this textile material, right? This textile upper, and we do have a bit of embroidered parts to it as well. So here in the toe, but look at this. It's so soft, it's so thin, and it gives very easily, but it has a little bit more of like a shell, like a protective shell type of feel right now. Like compared to the Sabrina 3, where it's just like, well, I mean, this is broken in, so we'll have to see on how the Zap 3 breaks in, but it's just like, it just gives, it's just really soft, right? And it kind of like stays there, you know what I mean? But the Zap 3, it has more of like a, it's still like pretty much just as soft, like as far as the give goes, but it kind of like rebounds back into shape, you know what I mean? And has a little bit more of a nicer kind of like supportive feel compared to the Sabrina 3, you know what I mean? And so I do like that. Also, ventilation seems really nice. And one thing I kind of wish they did is I wish they added a little bit more of a synthetic material at the tip of the toe, you know what I mean, for toe drags, but they didn't. So it probably isn't going to be the best for durability here, but they did add some here on the medial and lateral side, which is kind of weird, you know? And here in the midfoot area, there seems to be an underlaying material, so it does get a little bit stiffer there. And for the tongue, it's very minimal padding, like pretty much zero padding, so it's not super cozy. And also on the bottom of the tongue, we have this very open mesh material, which will also be very good for ventilation, right? Also, it's a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit like all modern basketball shoes have pretty much. And also here in the ankle area, it's pretty minimal, right? Like on the sides, I would say it's like more minimal padding. It's kind of thick, like right on top, but it's not like super cozy, you know what I mean? It's weird because it kind of like protrudes out a good amount right on the side, but then it's just like it stops right on top, you know? So it's kind of weird, but it has a really nice kind of like cupping shape, especially in the back of the shoe as well. A heel lockdown feels really nice. We do have a very high heel tab, and also in the back of the heel where your Achilles is, it does have a nice kind of like cozy feel as well, like pretty much all shoes. And also here in the back of the shoe, first of all, it says Zap 3. It's embroidered there. It also says Anta Zap 3 here on this plastic piece, on this sidewall almost, right? On this cage. And we also have an external TPU heel counter. And it kind of reminds me of the Kobe 6 a little bit with this shape. You know what I mean? And it kind of like wraps around the entire heel. So yeah, I mean, this is a very thin, very minimal feeling upper, and it does feel a little bit more supportive than like the Sabrina 2 and 3, just a tiny bit, but it does have a very similar feel to those, right? So there's the upper there. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size and this shoe fits me perfectly. I don't know what it is with Chinese companies, but all their shoes fit me extremely freaking well. So here in the toe box, very nice snug fit. Here for the length, also my toes go very close to the edge of the shoe, and width-wise it is slightly narrow as well, right? My big toe, not super wedged in like, you know, the jaw too, but it's slightly narrow here, right? Also here, I can definitely feel like my pinky toe and ring toe being squeezed just a tiny bit here too. So very, very modern basketball shoe type of fit, you know what I mean? So if you want a nice snug fit, you should be fine going true to size. If you have a wide foot, probably go up half a size, right? We'll have to see on how this textile material breaks in though, you know what I mean? Because it's a really soft material, I'm sure it'll get roomier and stretch out a good amount once I break it in. So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown. I mean, overall, this shoe does feel pretty nice for support. But it is an extremely lightweight shoe, which we'll get into, right? It feels so lightweight, and it seems like it has really good support for how lightweight and minimal the upper feels, right? So yeah, as far as the lateral containment goes, I mean, we do have a thicker type of fuse here in the forefoot, and then we do have this kind of like plastic material going up a little bit, acting as a sidewall, right? And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter as well as this external heel counter. So lateral containment feels like it's going to be very good, right? So far, and the overall upper, just like the Liren 5, the Liren 5 V2, you know what I mean? This shoe, it does get a little bit, you know, more supportive feeling than like, you know, the Luka 4, the Sabrina 2s. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not going to have too many issues with the kind of like my foot being locked down into the shoe, right? And also heel lockdown feels really nice so far. And also lateral stability feels like it'll be very good. Look at this. It's not a crazy like sharp outrigger for the rubber, but it does have a very wide base, right? So yeah, support and lockdown feels adequate for me in this shoe so far. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe, I'm actually pretty curious. I think it's gonna be like 9-10 ounces. That's how light this shoe feels. Like when I first got it, like when I got it in today and I took it out of the box, I was like, this feels so freaking light. So I'm guessing like 9-10 ounces. 9.4 ounces, guys. Let's check the other shoe. 9.3 ounces, right? So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces, and this is like almost 3 ounces lighter than that. So yeah, this is I feel like this is like top 3, top 5 lightest hoop shoes that you can get right now. And Anta just makes extremely lightweight shoes. Not just Anta, like Chinese companies in general, like Li Ning with the Gammas, the Liren 5V2, you know what I mean? The Wave Wade with the Wade Flash. It's just insane, you know? So yeah, I guess China just like making extremely lightweight shoes. I wish, you know, American brands like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour would adopt that, especially Adidas, you know what I mean? But yeah, this shoe feels extremely lightweight, very minimal. It literally feels like I have like pretty much nothing on. It's just more like that really minimal feel, but the cushion, like especially the underfoot cushion, is just so soft and comfortable too, but not mushy feeling. So yeah, it's feeling really nice so far, right? And now moving on to the aesthetics, that's one thing I don't like about it though. Not the best looking shoe, you know what I mean? It just looks kind of generic, you know, especially with this, the cutouts look so, not a huge fan, you know what I mean? It just feels like they're doing a little bit too much, and it doesn't feel like it goes together, you know what I mean? Like as far as like the heel goes and like the forefoot, it just seems like they kind of like slapped it all together in a shoe, and it feels nice as far as like they put it well together so that it feels nice on foot, but it doesn't look nice. You know what I mean? So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, this shoe feels freaking amazing so far, especially for for a guard shoe. You know what I mean? Lightweight, minimal, traction feels amazing, cushion feels really nice, core feel feels good, but the underfoot cushion feels nice. But I'm worried about the impact protection. The upper is extremely minimal, but it feels adequate for support so far. So yeah, this might be an amazing guard shoe. We'll have to see on that though. Yeah, there are a couple of things I am worried about, but so far it's feeling really nice, right? So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Anta Zap 3. Again, if you guys do want to cop, try to leave in the link in the description box, but that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.